saw it was Kermit, and he finished his workout. And when he left, I was talking to Marshall. I was like, man, when did he come about? How many pro fights does he have? And he's like, Joe, he's been here 2 weeks. And wow. I was shocked because his punch mechanics were really, really good. And he used his hips and shoulders and turned into his hooks. He had a nice, long, straight right hand. He had a good, long, straight jab. Uppercut was great. He looked like somebody that had been very well schooled, but that was all as a puncher, it all came natural to him. Yeah. So I got really excited about him. And then he met a girl and wound up disappearing for a while.
That always happens.
All fighters. Yeah. But we tracked him down again when he was ready to turn pro, and we came up with a plan and a deal. And I was going to be a strength and conditioning coach. Marshall was going to train him. Me and Marshall would handle all living expenses and career expenses until we got signed with a promoter. We figured that would happen in about 14 fights, and off to the races we went. And it happened in 10. I think he signed the main events in his 10th fight, and that's how it happened.
Thank God that gets expensive any other time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So, what are you doing these days to keep busy? What kind of things you have going on?
Well, I work a lot with the kids, and I have a credit repair business.
Oh, yeah, I need to call you about that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, you've been hitting the gym too. Doing your own workouts.
Yeah. I go to the gym and work out. I haven't had as much time lately because I have, my father's really ill.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to focus on something like that when you have, serious issues to deal with. And so I haven't had the time to eat right or really train right. So Kelly, you're on the way to finding out how much maintenance is required. Once you put that size on and you get used to it, it almost becomes part of your identity, and it really messes with you when you can't do the things you want to do.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of glad that you're not having the time to do it. That gives me time to catch up to you.
Yeah, right.
I need you to take probably about 3 years off and let me keep going.
Well, you look like a different person, brother.
Yeah, I know.
When I met you in person in California, PA, you look like a different human being.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
So good job.
He looks healthy now, doesn't he?
I just got to watch what I eat at night now, though. I'm starting to get a little package, around the waistline I got to take care of.
You earned it.
Yeah, for real. That's what I'm saying.
So when's your next fight's coming up for X, David?
We're going to start traveling a little bit to New York and Ohio and around those areas because we're sick of fighting and beating the same people over and over and over again. So we're going to try and enter some competitions in those areas and travel in other gyms for sparring.
I'll tell you what, Ohio has a great amateur scene.
Yes, I know it does. I'm friends with Otha Jones on Facebook, and I would like to get out to his gym. And the goal right now is we're going to turn Xavier and David pro at 17.
Nice. Well, I have no doubt they're going to be champions. I've said it before. In public. I'll say it again. That. And I don't do that. I don't just go out and say this guy's going to be a champion.
With the compliments.
No, I'm kind of an asshole. I'm not going to give him as much as deserve.
Oh, who? You, James? No way.
No, but if I see real talent, I'm going to let you know I see talent.
The problem is this day and age, honesty can easily get you confused with being an asshole. So
true.
I prefer honesty over somebody blowing smoke up my ass.
Right. And, I've lost a lot of good friends that were trainers, and I told them the truth about their fighter. I'm like, hey, your fighter could use some work. And like, what do you mean they could use work? They could beat this person. They could use work. And they don't want to talk anymore. So don't ask me if you don't want to know.
Well, that's what I said earlier about their ego being involved.
Yeah.
I listen to anything anybody has to say. I look at anything that comes up as an opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
That's the one thing in boxing. You can never stop learning as a trainer or as a fighter.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, even if you are the type of person that don't really want to hurt anybody's feeling, when it comes to the sport of boxing, that's a sport where you have to be very blunt, and upfront.
Yeah, of course. People's lives are in your hand.
Exactly.
Your kid don't win a basketball, game or he misses a shot. he misses a shot, nothing happens to him. He screws up in boxing. You know, there's physical damage, you know, that could be life altering, life shortening, or life ending. So,
you know, I heard a comment. I heard a comment from Michael Carbajal back in the day, and they were asking him about the fighters working at his gym and him helping out. And they said, "Why do you do it? You know, you got money. You don't need to be working with his kids." He said to himself, he said, "You know, am I working every day to build these fighters, or are they working every day to build me? That's something I have to look at. You know, are you working to build them, or are you looking for them to build your ego?" Which I think a lot of trainers, they have these kids out there to build their ego to make, you know, and, you know, I got on my rant the other day. I don't know if you read it, about being a matchmaker and a trainer at the same time. Pissed me the fuck off. I'm going to be honest with you. It pissed me off. I mean, how can you say you're looking out for a guy?
You're bitching about that, and you're 100% right. And you got people out there that want to be a matchmaker, a manager, promoter, and trainer. I know people that do that.
That's like petting a dog and sticking a knife in its back at the same time. You know what I mean? How can you look out for somebody and feed them to the wolves?
It's such an exploitive business. I when I got involved with David and Xavier, the gym owner is a really great guy. He's one of the few decent people I ever met in boxing. And I told him, I said, "Listen, I've been involved with this since the year 2000." And I said, "I haven't met one person that I've gotten friendly with in this game, because they're all scumbags.
It's cutthroat. And
yeah, they're fake, they're phony. You know, here today, gone tomorrow. And you know, the sooner you come to that realization in this business, the better off you're going to be. It doesn't mean you have to be like them, but you have to recognize that that's what you're dealing with.
True.
So
you know,
you have to watch your back at every turn.
You know, Bernard Hopkins said he met more trustworthy people in prison than he did in the boxing world.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Well, I do too.
That's the pot calling the kettle black. There.
True.
I don't care.
It's
for him
true. Yeah. But you know what? What he said made sense, you know, because I have my opinion on Bernard too. But I can see that, because everybody, it seems like they all have an agenda. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is. It's a cutthroat business. Like I said, I've seen it.
I couldn't do it.
Unfortunately, I mean, I know we all have, but I've seen it over and over.
Yeah.
And you know, you say, "Oh, well, the pros." I've seen it done more in the amateurs, but yeah, once you get to the pros, you'll see people come out the woodworks who never had anything to do with boxing, and all of a sudden they got their hands in it somewhere. They think there's a shit ton of money in it. There's not, but they don't care. They'll rob anybody. They'll screw anybody over, and you get them to that point. And you help them out, you know, you bring people in to do things. Next thing you know, something goes wrong. You turn your back. They're in bed with the person who you have, you know. But it happens, and it is. I mean, it's a cutthroat business in the ring and outside of the ring.
Well, you know, it's sad to say, but boxing maybe ran smoother and cleaner when the mob ran it.
It was.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
sure.
Okay, you threw a couple fights here and there to get a title shot, but I mean, shit, there wasn't 300 people with different job titles robbing you. It was one or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
this sport is something.
You know what, though? Like I said, you have to have a deep love for the sport, or you wouldn't do it. I told
go ahead.
No, I told Kelly boxing's like a bad relationship. You know, it really is. The minute you think you're done with it, you're letting it right back in the house again. You know?
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. That was
true. It's true. You're like, hey, I'm never going to fucking watch a fight again. I'm tired of getting screwed over. Saturday night comes, like, all right, maybe this one time I think they may have changed.
Yeah.
And sure enough, same thing happened. She's beating on your door at 3 a.m. with her ex. You know what I mean? So,
There's so much wrong. There's so much wrong with the sport. And I think I blame a large part of it on the fans, because the moment you have a less than 100% performance, they question your ability.
Oh my God!
God forbid you take a loss. You're a bum and were a built-up fighter that never had anything.
Yeah.
You know it. And look at the greatest fighters, the people we call the greatest fighters that ever lived.
Yep.
Sugar Ray Robinson had losses. Muhammad Ali had losses. When you're the best fighting the best, eventually you're even if you're better than the other guy, you might just not show up 100% that night.
Well,
and people don't know, fans don't know, laymen don't know what a fighter goes through in a training camp. to get through that camp without getting injured, and a hand injury, a rib injury, something wrong with your face,
or to get through that camp being injured, but without
telling anybody.
Yeah, without telling anybody, or worsening it.
Sick. Well, we're getting sick because your immune system is so depleted from all the constant work, and then you're dieting and you're trying to take weight off and still trying to have this tremendous workload on you as far as workouts. They have no clue, and they sit behind computers and they sit at newspapers and TV stations, and they point their finger and they judge, and and I always say that they couldn't last one day in the world of a professional fighter.
Nope.
So I really
most of them couldn't
personally.
last one day in the field of a regular job. That's why they that's why they sit there and write. That's why they sit there and write and say the things they do on a computer. They live off of somebody else's accomplishments or failures. They got to wait to see what somebody else does to make a living.
Well, I was on I was on a box. I was on Facebook the other day, and somebody was talking about Kelly read it. We was talking about. We were talking about Golovkin. He said, "Well, as soon as they first get their first loss, they're no longer greats." And I was like, "Did you just fucking think I fucking thought you did?" I said, "Robinson, Hagler, Hearns all had losses, and they're not greats."
Yeah.
The guy said, I put this on my mother. He said, "I just want to let you know that I was an elite amateur in the 90s." I'm like, okay, but what does that have to do with our conversation?
Yeah.
And then I proceeded to run him down pretty good. But he said, the only thing he had for me was something I'm racist, which, I'm racist now.
Oh God.
Yeah. Or what else was it? That I'm a moron. Okay, I'm a moron, but I'm definitely not a racist. I'll give you that. I'm a moron. But one loss to another great does not define who you are, your fighting ability or character.
You guys are both familiar with Henry Armstrong, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what his record was in his first 5 fights?
No, I don't.
He was 1 win, 4 losses, and I forget. I think he was knocked out in his first he was knocked out in his first professional fight.
Wow.
And then he went on and a historic undefeated run. And when there was 8 divisions in boxing, he had the featherweight, the lightweight, the welterweight title simultaneously, and fought the middleweight champion Serafino Garcia to a draw.
Yeah.
And he did that all in the span of a year or 2.
Wow.
So imagine if he would have judged himself based on those first 4 or 5 fights where he was 1-4 or 1-3 and knocked out in his pro debut. That's what fans are so friggin' hard on fighters and unappreciative of what they go through and what they put themselves through in camp, let alone the fight and training on a daily basis. It's disgusting.
Real quick on that though, getting into it, even outside of the fighting, I just did an interview, for instance, I think last week, and they've been putting it on. So I give, from a former world champion standpoint, who's been in world title fights, numerous world title fights, I gave my opinion on some of the stuff that happened in the middleweight division. I had a lot of nice reply backs on that, but then I had people on there commenting,
"Is he drunk?
Yeah, is he drunk, or is is his brain still there?
Did he start drugs?"
No, I got these.
I read the interview. You presented yourself in a very articulate,
telling it from
manner. It was from
you
real
had
world experience.
Yeah, and one or two, you had 1 or 2 people on there saying that. I mean, and they're arguing with me. I'm not a guy that had 2 fights or just watched boxing and making these statements, and I'm not saying everything I say is gospel or 100% right, but I believe that I have some knowledge firsthand of what I'm talking about. That's like, these are the same type people though that, watch Grey's Anatomy and go tell a surgeon exactly how to do an operation though, and what he's doing wrong. So
they want to scrub in too, right?
So it does get frustrating on that.
But no, it does. We just talked to our last guest, Shannon Torres from the WBC, and she said the exact same thing you did verbatim about boxing fans.